Days of our lives, shocking turns, broken hearts, and brewing romance. May 8th and 9th episodes unpacked. Let's step into the tangled web of Salem's lives, where even a cake can prove deadly, a date can become a battlefield, and the wounds of family may cut deeper than any bullet. Thursday, May 8th. A sweet treat turns dangerous and hearts are torn. The sun rose on what should have been a blissful day for Sarah and Xander. The couple had been planning their long-awaited honeymoon. Something joyous after the chaos of recent months. But joy has never been a guarantee in Salem. Instead, a bite of cake at the town square leads to a terrifying medical emergency. Sarah, smiling just moments earlier, begins gasping for air. Her face flushes, hives break out, and her throat begins to close. Xander, who's been through hell and back with her, doesn't hesitate. He scoops her up and rushes her to University Hospital, panic etched into every step. The hospital, already stretched thin and on the brink of financial ruin, scrambles to treat her. Doctors work quickly, but this medical emergency cuts deeper. It forces Sarah and Xander to cancel their dream trip. Another sacrifice at the altar of fate. Meanwhile, a softer, sweeter moment unfolds between Kat and Chad. In the town square, the two share an unexpectedly warm conversation. There's lightness in Kat's eyes, and Chad, for all his past wounds, seems at ease. She surprises him with a generous gesture, a free ticket. Though she insists it's nothing, the undercurrent is undeniable. A spark, perhaps? But the real twist comes when EJ enters the picture. Kat has a date lined up with him, but Chad, visibly unsettled, attempts to buy EJ out of it. His brother refuses. EJ is amused but suspicious. He asks directly, does Chad have feelings for Kat? Chad denies it with an almost desperate certainty, but EJ isn't buying it. And then, in a moment of magnanimity or mischief, maybe both, EJ offers to hand over the date. Chad refuses. Too quickly. Too adamantly. The tension between the DiMera brothers simmers, and it's clear this triangle is just beginning to form. The weekend will reveal who ends up dining with Kat. Given the promotional photos from the show's anniversary that show all three together, it's anyone's guess who will win her heart. EJ, the charming scoundrel who still claims devotion to Belle? Or Chad, the supposedly just friend's confidant who might be in deeper than he admits? The storm behind the smile, Chanel's silent suffering while the town dances around romance, heartbreak brews elsewhere. Chanel is unraveling. Her heart, already fragile from recent emotional blows, can barely take another hit. She's grieving not for death, but for the loss of the future she imagined. The adoption fallout has torn something vital from her, and Johnny's attempt to reconnect is too soon, too raw. She finds solace in an unlikely place, Abe's arms. A father figure, a listener, a calming voice in the storm. He doesn't try to fix her pain. He simply stands beside her, a lighthouse in the fog. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's everything. A family at war, Johnny, EJ, and the gun between them elsewhere. Marlena is pulling double duty. First, she reaches out to Johnny, who is spiraling. He's burdened by guilt, not just about recent tensions with EJ, but about that moment. The moment when he had the gun. The moment he pointed it. He didn't pull the trigger, or did he? The memory plays tricks. Marlena listens, probes gently, but the wound is still fresh. Later, she visits EJ at the hospital. He's recovering, yes, but he's changed. There's a weariness behind his eyes. Maybe it's the near-death experience. Maybe it's the realization that his own son might have tried to kill him. Or maybe it's something deeper. Something involving Belle. To add salt to the wound, Kayla deals a heavy blow to EJ's ambitions. He offers to fund the hospital, but she refuses. She doesn't trust his motives. She clings to her faith in Dr. Russell's research, even though it's years from producing any funding. The hospital teeters on bankruptcy, and still, she holds the line. But at what cost? Friday, May 9th. Suspicion, sacrifice, and a stolen moment of grace. Friday dawns heavy with consequence. EJ, battered in body and soul, makes a stunning move. He tries to shield Johnny. Despite believing his son pulled the trigger, he tells investigators he doesn't want Johnny to suffer. A father's love, twisted and tangled, still burns bright beneath betrayal. Meanwhile, the search for the shooter continues. Gabby drops a bombshell. Ava couldn't have done it. She saw her leave before the shot was fired. This throws the investigation into chaos. Jada, too, distances herself from suspicion, revealing to Sean that she had locked away her firearms before a night of drinking. A subtle confession, perhaps, or a careful alibi. And then there's Felicity. The little girl is visibly distressed, and it's Chad and Kat who comfort her. Were they on a date? Possibly. Kat is dressed for one, her hair done, lips painted, confidence glowing. The scene is tender, grounding. Amid the chaos, here is innocence, and two adults doing their best to hold it. Tangled loyalties and new beginnings. Xander stays by Sarah's side in the hospital. Their canceled trip stings, but the deeper ache is clear. They're once again reminded how fragile life is. Their love has survived so much, but how many more hits can it take? Elsewhere, Javi and Leo have another of their famously intense conversations. Javi is angry, his cousins are suspects, and he hates it. There's tension, unspoken truths, and the growing realization that no one in Salem is safe from suspicion. And in the world of publishing and pride, Alex makes a move. He wants Stephanie to let Titan publish her book. On the surface, it's business. But Stephanie senses more. Why is Alex so invested? Is this about the book, or is this about her? Final thoughts. Salem spins faster than ever as the dust settles on these two turbulent episodes. One thing is clear, no one in Salem is untouched. Love flirts with heartbreak, and every choice, every glance, carries weight. Will Sarah recover fully? Will the truth about the shooting emerge before more lives are ruined? Will Chad admit his feelings? Will Kat fall for the wrong brother? Or the right one? Only time and Days of Our Lives will tell. Meanwhile, next week. Days of Our Lives next week. EJ's wrath, Kayla's gamble, a brewing scandal, and the heartaches that bind Salem together. Salem has always been a town where truth hides behind shadows. Loyalty is put to the test, and no secret stays buried for long. As the next week unfolds, the storylines swirling around the hospital, the DiMera family, and the weary hearts of its citizens take center stage. Power struggles escalate, friendships deepen, and betrayals cut closer than ever. What's coming is more than just another week in this town. It's the opening act of a storm no one sees coming. The drug heist that could bring down a legacy. The air in Salem is thick with tension as whispers swirl around the hospital corridors. Sean and Steve, two of the town's most seasoned and unpredictable men, embark on a desperate mission, one that could either save lives or shatter their reputations. Their target? A stash of experimental medication developed under the groundbreaking research of Dr. Russell, a scientist whose work has the potential to revolutionize modern medicine. But it's not just a theft, it's a rebellion. They believe the ends justify the means. If they can smuggle out even a fraction of the formula, perhaps they can help fast-track a miracle drug before bureaucracy swallows it whole. Yet what they don't realize is that their actions will ignite a firestorm. EJ, known for his pride and unrelenting ambition, is about to explode with rage. Not only is he furious about the stolen drugs, but the heist threatens something far more personal, his access to the very same research. EJ has been quietly maneuvering behind the scenes, desperate to get his hands on the formula. It's a prize that could cement his power and elevate his name beyond the walls of Salem. And now that prize is slipping through his fingers. The moment he discovers the theft, his fury is palpable. But instead of storming through the hospital demanding justice, EJ sharpens his strategy. He sets his sights on someone he considers a more immediate threat, Kayla. Power play at the hospital, Kayla under siege. Kayla is no stranger to pressure, but this week, the stakes are higher than ever. She stands at a crossroads. On one side, the promise of salvation through EJ's financial support. On the other, the riskier road of betting everything on Dr. Russell's research. She has made her choice. And it's a bold one. She turns down EJ's offer. Not politely. Not cautiously. She meets his proposal with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. Keep your dirty money to yourself, she snaps, making it clear she won't let EJ buy his way into her hospital or her conscience. But Kayla knows this decision won't go without consequences. EJ is not a man who takes rejection lightly. And with the drug heist threatening the hospital's integrity, he sees an opening. If Kayla refuses his money and the hospital begins to falter financially, he can paint her as reckless and unfit to lead. In fact, he might already be planting seeds with the hospital board, twisting the narrative, hinting that Kayla is letting personal bias cloud her professional judgment. He doesn't need to scream or threaten. All he has to do is raise questions, sow doubt, and let chaos take its course. That's the DiMera way. A new chapter for Doug 3 and a touch of hope in a welcome moment of lightness. There's a different kind of drama unfolding at the bar. Doug 3, a young man with a troubled past, is beginning to find his footing again, thanks in no small part to Roman's guiding hand. Roman didn't just give Doug 3 a job, he gave him a chance to rebuild. He offered more than employment, he offered belonging. A room upstairs. Purpose. Steady hands to hold when the world felt like it was crumbling. Doug 3, who once moved through town with the kind of sadness that ages a man early, now stands a little straighter. His eyes are brighter. There's hope there. They share quiet conversations at the bar, sometimes over a mop bucket, sometimes over a late-night drink. It's not flashy. It's not sensational. But it's real. In a town that often chews up the broken, Roman has chosen to shelter one. The blame game. EJ's memory is fuzzy, but his accusations are sharp even as he schemes against Kayla. EJ is fighting another inner battle. His memories of the night he was shot are fragmented pieces of a puzzle scattered across a blurred mind. But one piece stands out to him clearly, Johnny. His own son. The image of Johnny with a gun in his hand haunts him. EJ can't say for sure what happened. But the fear, the betrayal, and the pain have warped his judgment. He is convinced Johnny is the one who pulled the trigger. Whether it's a truth or a twisted memory doesn't matter. In EJ's mind, Johnny is guilty. And guilt demands retribution. This belief drives him to make dangerous choices. To protect his pride. To feed his need for control. If proving Johnny's guilt means pointing fingers at others, at Ava, at Sean, even at Leo, he's willing to do it. And as he spirals into paranoia, the town holds its breath. Leo's relentless hunt for the truth. Leo, often dismissed as dramatic and meddling, takes it upon himself to dig deeper into the mystery. He doesn't do it for glory or gain. Not this time. This time, it's about justice. Even when others tell him to drop it, to leave well enough alone, Leo keeps poking around. He interviews. He observes. He connects the dots no one else dares to. He wants to know who really pulled that trigger. And in his gut, he knows it wasn't Johnny. The town may roll their eyes at his flair and flamboyance, but Leo might be the only one willing to look past family loyalties and long-held grudges. Chad's heart is at war as the storm of suspicion rages. Chad faces his own quieter torment. Every time the topic of Kat comes up, he brushes it off. We're just friends, he insists. There's nothing romantic. But words are cheap in Salem. When he talks to EJ about her, there's a flicker of hesitation, of denial too forceful to be believed. His jaw tightens. His eyes drift. He can lie to EJ. He can even lie to himself. But his heart knows. He's drawn to Kat. Drawn to the way she sees him without judgment, to the ease of their conversations, to the way she doesn't see him as a DiMera or a widower or a man broken by grief, but simply as Chad. But Chad has never let himself love lightly. And he isn't ready to open that door again. Not yet. A week of reckoning ahead, so as next week unfolds, the threads continue to tangle. Will Kayla be able to hold the hospital together as pressure mounts? Can EJ manipulate his way into power, or will his vendettas backfire? Will the truth about the shooting come out, and at what cost? And will Chad stop denying the pull he feels before it's too late? Salem is never quiet for long. And next week promises to be anything but.